is JC Crane.
Oh, that's okay. I got his link.
Oh, there we go.
All right, everyone. We are now live. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. We're sorry we started just a couple of minutes late. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to your wonderful panelists who will go ahead and get the presentation started.
All right, thank you so much, and welcome everyone. Even though we can't see you, it is lovely having you here today. We're going to just jump right into it. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to be talking to you about the importance of a 2-year degree in today's economy. Very important stuff. So we've got 3 presenters for you. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Amos. I am an advisor at State Fair Community College. So you might know us where the State Fair is. It's in Sedalia, Missouri. So if you ever come to the Missouri State Fair, we are right there in front of it. The State Fair is literally in our backyard, so we can smell the fair, if you know what I mean, when it's going on. So I will turn it over now to Megan.
Hi everyone. My name is actually Megan Struberg. It's not JC Crane, as the screen probably tells you. I'm actually filling in for someone. I work for East Central College, and I am the director of early college programs and also admissions. And we're located in Union, Missouri, which is about 50 miles southwest of St. Louis. So also a community college grad. So happy to be here today.
Hi guys, my name is Scott Moorfeld and I'm an admissions rep with State Technical College of Missouri. State Tech is located in central Missouri, as you can see by the map, in Lynn. We're about an hour southeast of Columbia, Missouri, about an hour northeast of the Lake of the Ozarks. We are the state's only 2-year technical college, so we are a state school, and we have a 99% placement rate and about 1,900 students here on campus. So thanks again for joining us today. Part of this presentation, when we talked about it, we kind of wanted to look at structure and how colleges are different based on time frame and what you get out of it. So that's what I will be discussing with you today. So I'll be talking about the differences between an associate's degree, bachelor's degree, and a union education, or a different type of education. So for those of you that don't know, an associate's degree is usually a 2-year time frame, roughly 20 classes or 72 credit hours of coursework. And there are a couple different degrees that you might earn as an associate's degree. One could be an associate of applied science, associate of arts, associate of science, or an associate of fine arts. So what does that associate degree do? Those courses typically prepare you for a specific career, as it says technical or occupational degree. You will also take some of what we call general education classes. So that is more of like your algebra, history, writing, speech, science, computer classes. And those general education classes are really, if you decide to go on to get an additional degree, a lot of times those are transferable, and Megan will talk about that in just a minute. And so if you decided to get a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree, then you could take some of those credits with you into that process. Next, I will talk about the bachelor's degree and kind of that structure. So it's more of a 4-year time frame, 120 credit hours. Degrees you might earn could be a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, or a Bachelor of Fine Arts. And so kind of the description of this degree is you do 120 credit hours of coursework for fields such as architecture, chemistry, math. The bachelor's degree is considered the minimal level of education for some of those careers. And the general education classes with a bachelor's degree are going to be more broad. So things like history, fine arts, you will do some sciences, math, and English. In addition to that, within that bachelor's degree, students will take several elective courses. So they're really not major specific. Sometimes it just kind of depends, but they will help add depth to that chosen field in which you're going into. So, and then the third one I want to talk about today is union training. So that time frame is dependent on which union you're employed with and kind of what their structure is. It's more of a earn while you learn, and you will not earn college credit. So, and so when I look at a union education or other types of education, really, once you have those college credits from an accredited college, you can take those anywhere, really. That union training, that kind of on-the-job training is, you won't have those credits that you can take beyond. So if you get employed with somebody and they want you to get a bachelor's degree in management because they see management potential in you, then you have to start with an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, start from the ground and work your way up. So in summary, I just want to real quickly talk about the benefit of a 2-year degree. So, and I mentioned this earlier a little bit, limited general education classes, more time on task or hands-on. So if you're that hands-on learner, and you know, day 1, day 2, you want to start getting into those classes, those technical classes, a 2-year degree is probably a good fit for you. Certainly get both degrees if you want. So all 3 of the colleges represented here today, we have agreements with other schools, 4-year schools. So you could do two years at one location and then 2 years somewhere else. And a lot of times those are seamless transfers, but make sure that you check on, you know, what transfers to that 4-year school before you take those classes, and make sure that you contact the registrar's office to make sure that those classes are going to transfer. And then another benefit of a 2-year degree, apprenticeship and internship opportunities. So I know that the other 2 schools offer this as well. State Tech, we have internships built into most of our programs. So it's a time frame in which you get employed by somebody in the industry, and you work for them for, maybe it's the summer between your first and your second year of college, and you gain that experience. Talk about marketability and kind of setting yourself apart from the crowd. I think those are the things that really employers want to see, because it shows initiative and work ethic and all of those things that they want to see in potential employees. And you'll gain a skill that makes you instantly marketable. And I talk about marketability a lot because why are you going to college? To make yourself marketable, right? And so it only makes sense to, you know, to go into a field that really, there are jobs available. And if you do something with hands-on or time on task kind of an education, you're instantly valuable. So increased demand from employers. And I know the other 2 schools have seen this too. We have folks in our community and outside of our communities that are begging for graduates because they just don't have people for the skills gap. And so begging. So it's cool to attend a 2-year school. It's that's where I started as well. I started at State Tech and got a bachelor's degree. And so it's it just depends on the student and kind of what they want. But I wanted to kind of highlight the differences between the types of education, because they are kind of different in their own right. And even too, Elizabeth and Megan are from community colleges, and a technical college is still even a little bit different than that too. So so I appreciate you guys letting me be in on the session today, and I'm going to turn it over to Megan.
All right, guys, thank you, Scott. We kind of are moving tracks a little bit from structure to cost and financial aid. So it's really important to kind of be thinking about this, because a lot of times when students go to a 2-year school, it's because they're looking for something that's affordable, something that's going to get them closer to some sort of credential, and then either go on for that bachelor's degree or enter the workforce. So in looking at the average cost for colleges in the state, community colleges in the state are about $3,100 per year. The state technical college is a little bit more because they have more specialized programs, which is $5,800 a year. And then also our public 4-year schools in the state of Missouri are about $7,800 a year. So when you're starting off in those, you know, first few classes, I tell people this all the time. You know, I've attended as a community college student, I've been to a 4-year school, I've been to a 4-year private school, and all of the schools really are pretty much the same as far as instruction. However, the environment is a little bit different. And so, you know, that's really what you're, you know, paying for when you're looking at different types of institutions. What do they have as far as on-campus activities and programs? And then where is it going to take you after that? Next slide. Okay, so when we talk about 2-year degrees, I think the biggest reason a lot of people choose them is the payoff. So when you look at some of those costs that we talk about for the 2-year programs, and then what you can make in these areas, this is a really good chart just to kind of get your brain to start kind of thinking about those things. So lots of different areas are listed here. A lot of them have stackable credentials. And so Emily will talk about that, or sorry, Elizabeth will talk about that in her next section a little bit more. But it kind of shows you, you know, paying at a 2-year degree rate is really just going to be a fraction of what you will make in the field once you go on. I just wanted to give you a visual. Yeah.
Megan, if any of the students have question, or even parents, counselors that are watching, if you have any questions at all, like put them in the little Q&A that'll come to us. It won't broadcast to everyone else, so you can put that, you know, I'm interested in this. Can I get a 2-year degree in that? And we will be happy to answer that at the end when we do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, let us know.
Yep, absolutely. Don't be shy. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about basic terms. I think anytime you're starting kind of a college search and figuring out what you want to do, it does become kind of this other language that you have to understand. And so I just put up a few basic terms for you. If you want to dive deeper into financial aid, there is another session on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, so take note of that. So the free application for federal student aid is the FAFSA. It's an online form. It's where you apply for all types of student aid, including grants, work study, your A+, loans, all of those, the FAFSA will be required. So as you're thinking about dates in the future, October 1st, always mark that on your calendar, because every year you're going to fill out the FAFSA form for the following school year. On October 1st is when it opens. Expected family contribution. With your FAFSA, basically we will take that information, or the government will, and come up with a total that they expect the family to contribute. And so really that's not like, oh, you have that much in the bank. It's just a starting point for financial aid to kind of build those packages for you. So whether it's scholarships, loans, your A+, that's kind of where they derive that number from, where it starts. A Pell Grant is designed to assist students that might have financial need. And so to qualify for a Pell Grant, you must demonstrate that by the FAFSA. And so if you're talking about getting a grant, again, the FAFSA is the way to that money. Scholarships are gifts that you do not need to be repaid and are designed to help students pay for an undergraduate degree. They can be renewable, they can be one-time, it just all depends on the scholarship. Loan, kind of the same way, depends on the type, but with that, you do have to pay it back, and interest can accrue or not, depending on the type that you decide to borrow. Okay. All right, for those of you that are A+ students, just to talk about another seminar that we have on Monday the 14th, there's another session at 7 o'clock that kind of gives you all the ins and outs. But I think it's important as you're talking about cost, financial aid, structure, all of those things, you know, just having a basic snapshot. So again, for A+, you'll have to complete the FAFSA. Every school usually has an A+ agreement form, so you'll want to look for that from the financial aid office. You'll also have to request your final high school transcript. So on your final transcript after you graduate, it'll have your graduation date and the A+ seal, and that's how the school applies your funding. A+ does cover tuition and general fees. It does not cover books though, nor course-specific fees. So that might be if you need a special tool for your precision machining class, or a special knife set for culinary arts, that type of thing. And your Pell Grant always pays first. And so your financial aid office can tell you a little bit more about that. Okay. Kind of related to that are Core 42 and dual credit. So some of you might actually be taking some dual credit classes now to get a jump start. I know at East Central we offer a lot of Core 42 at our local high schools. We also offer some career technical courses at our Career Center. So in welding, building instruction, auto technology. So a lot of times you can start those classes, then you can finish your degree at a college later. So for us, you know, we have the career technical programs as far as dual credit, and we also have those Core 42. So Core 42 is general education classes. What happened was the state of Missouri noticed a lot of students were transferring and they were losing credit. So they wanted to come up with a system so that when students take those basic classes, they're the same no matter where you go. So if you take English at East Central College, it's the same at Mizzou, same at Missouri State. It's a seamless transfer of credits of all those basic classes. So think of English, history, math, science, those types of classes. Okay.
And that's such a good opportunity to do those in high school. Like, so you know, if you're going to stay in Missouri to go to school, you know that, oh, Comp 1, done and over with. And dual credit, I don't know about y'all, but at State Fair Community College, dual credit is the cheapest rate of tuition you can get. Same for y'all?
It is. It's half price at our school. All right, so we'll switch gears to Elizabeth.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks, Megan. And forgive me, I think I'm turning blue because there's a cloud that keeps on moving. I'm facing a window, so you can just sing that song that says I'm blue, double D, double die if you want. So now that you know the structure, you know kind of how a two-year school works, you know kind of how that might fit into the puzzle of your education, you know the cost, you know the huge benefits that a two-year school can be in terms of financial aid and cost. Let's talk about what Scott was kind of talking about, the point of you going to school. And one of our primary concerns is your employability, your ability to get a job that you like and that you're trained for well. That's top of our list right here. So a two-year degree can really be the start or the end of your education, depending on what you want. You can start with it and then, move on to a bachelor's, to a master's, get your PhD, do it. You can do that, whatever you want. But you can always start here at one of our schools, or it could be the end. And there's a few different ways that can kind of happen. So one way it can be done is using stackable certificates. So if you've never heard of a stackable certificate, what that is basically a smaller amount of school, so not an entire degree. For example, at State Fair, we have skill certificates. Those are 1 semester long, so only 16 weeks. You can do that. I know you guys that, really don't like school. You're like, I do not want to sit in a classroom for any longer than I have to. 16 weeks, skill certificate, boom, done, go to work. You can do that. Or maybe you think a little bit longer, a professional certificate might be for you. That one is a year long. So you can literally get a semester or a year's worth of schooling and have something more than a high school degree. I tell the students that I talk to a lot that college may not be for everyone, but education is. Learning something, whether it's working with a family member, learning the family business, that's still education. Learning something beyond a high school degree, doing a stackable certificate, just doing something beyond high school is really going to step you up, like Scott said, make you more marketable, and give you something more than just that high school degree. So you might be thinking, okay, well, maybe in one or two areas, right? Maybe one or two areas have a stackable certificate. And I just wanted to give you a few of the ones we have here at State Fair that you can get, just a few. Let's see. Okay, we got computer and network administration. You're a techie kind of person. Computer and network admin may be for you. We've got digital media communication. That's a new degree for our communication people. Holla, where you at? We've got industrial maintenance. That's working with electricity, cables, harnessing electricity. I don't know how it all works. That's over my head, but cool. Pharmacy technician, okay? You out here working at Walgreens, working in a hospital. We love you. We need you. Construction management. Y'all making blueprints, buildings. That's cool. Welding technology. Y'all want to be a welder? We've got that. We've got nursing, okay? We've got a professional certificate, which would be your LPN. But then if you wanted to be an RN, you got to go a little further, 2 years for us. We've got engineering design technology. Look at that. They're making a tire on a computer. Come on now. That's cool. Medical assisting, just to name a few, y'all. We got them in a ton of different areas for y'all. So if you are interested in one of these, put a little Q&A, Q in our Q&A box. Let us know. We can help you out. So maybe you're
Elizabeth,
thinking, oh yeah, Scott.
just real quick, and I know you guys see this too, but it's amazing, whenever a student starts a certificate, how interested they are in that major. And sometimes that turns into them getting a degree in that specialized area because they find that they like it so much. So it's not a terrible place to start, but you might find yourself getting an associate's degree because you want to know more information and you want to make yourself more valuable and marketable in that industry and in that space.
That's such a good point, Scott. And the difference between a certificate and a degree is the certificate, you usually have like 0 general education classes. If you're getting a certificate in, whatever one of those that I just said, you're taking only those classes and that's it. If you want to move and get a degree, you might have to take kind of a couple of those general education classes that Scott was talking about. So yeah, if you want to just dive into what you're interested in, why not? And that's why they're called stackable. You can take one and then move another one, kind of stack them on top.
Another thing I thought about too, Elizabeth, was, you might start off in that career technical field and then you start working in the field and the employer's like, hey, we like you. We're going to pay you to finish out your degree. So there's another benefit.
That's the dream. That's the dream right there. If you can get that deal, take it if you want to. You don't have to, but take it. So let's move on to, maybe you're thinking, none of those were for me, or I'm thinking a more specialized degree. I want to let you know that a 2-year degree does not necessarily just mean a broad, only gen eds, transferable degree to get you started with your bachelor's. There's kind of two different ones. We'll talk about the more specialized one a little bit more in a second, but that AA is what you're looking for if you want just the general education classes, just to use your A+, get you moved on to your bachelor's degree. That's what you're looking for. It's called an Associate of Arts. If you want to sound like you know what you're talking about, you'll just call it an AA. And then that one that Scott was kind of talking about, an AAS, an Associate of Applied Science. Applied science meaning some sort of special something, a specific something. Maybe at State Fair, you might get one in radiology or sonography or dental hygiene. A lot of those stackable certificates all have AASs along with them. Especially, Scott, when you were talking about manager potential, a lot of times if you want to go into leadership roles, they'll want you to have some kind of piece of paper that says you know what you're doing a little better than whoever else. So a specialized degree can be a really good opportunity here at a 2-year school as well. So let's talk about that AAS a little bit better. The reason why AASs are so valuable is a lot of what they offer. So the way we build AASs, and I think I'm talking for all 3 schools here, State Tech, ECC, and State Fair, we don't just randomly pick classes. Oh, you want to be a nurse? Well, let's get you to take U.S. history. We don't just pick them out of nowhere. We talk with our industry leaders. So people who are business owners or people who are in the community who are a big part of that industry. And our faculty, which are the people who teach the classes, come to the table, they have meetings, and they talk about what does a person who is excellent at this job need to know. That's how we make the classes. And if we don't have a class that teaches that skill or those skills, we make more classes. We fill the gaps of the industry. We want to make sure you are using the technology that is being used in the industry today, not 30 years ago, and we want to make sure that you're getting the knowledge that you need right now. We're not going to teach you how to print with a print what are those things called? Printer press. It's old technology. We're not going to teach you that. We're going to teach you what you need to know, right? More than that, we are meeting the demands of the field now. I think at a 2-year school, we've got a little more flexibility with when we need to pivot, we change, and we meet the demands of the field now. Right now, we need medical lab techs. That's what we need to process all of these tests that are being taken by millions of people right now. So what are we doing? We are promoting our MLT program. We've got an MLT certificate here at State Fair, actually with ECC. It's a consortium. So we are meeting the demands of the field now. We want to make sure that we are filling the skills gap. You've probably heard of the skills gap. The needs of the community are here, and then the skills of the community are here. There's a gap here. People don't know how to do this thing. So that's what we want to fill. So you might be thinking, okay, Elizabeth, that was fun. That was a lot of pictures. That was cool. But how does this get me a job? So I want to tell you. First of all 3 of these colleges that we've got here today have community connections and partnerships. That means that we have strong bonds with the people who are in the community, those industry leaders we were talking about. They help us build our degrees and then they employ our graduates. That's how that works, okay? We've actually got one down near Eldon that we have been training. It's a company, and we've been training their people for like 12 years or something now. now, they come to us, they get the degree, they go back to them, and they work at that company. It's a wonderful thing that can help you a lot of times get a job. One of the kind of curses of a community college or a 2-year school is our students will end up leaving before they're done with us because they already have a job. That happens more than you know. You see them nodding. It's not great for us because we would like to have you complete your time here, but good for you. It's good for you.
And if you become that student that gets a job offer before you complete your degree, please. It'll be more beneficial to you in the long run. Short term, it looks delicious, but long term, it isn't as delicious. So I know money is important and it's exciting and all the things, but really there's a lot of value in completing that degree. Back to what Megan was saying earlier, what happens if you get employed by somebody and they want you to get your bachelor's degree, then you still have to complete the rest of the degree that you were in before you move on. So so there's a lot of value in completing that. I'm glad you brought that up, Elizabeth.
And also, to Scott's point, we all know this year has been quite interesting for everyone, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And so the fact that you would leave a job or leave school to go to a job, that's great, but be thinking about what happens if your job is gone. You don't want to be in that position where, gosh, I don't have a credential and now my job is not here. So that's why it's so important to finish the degree for sure.
Mm-hmm. Very good points. Another thing that can help you get a job here at a 2-year school is apprenticeships. And I kind of talked to Scott and Megan before, and so I kind of know this might be a little different at their schools, but so I'll just talk for State Fair for just a second. We have apprenticeships, which are specifically a great deal if you do not want to pay for college or you maybe can't pay for college. It's not an option. So basically what it is you tell us what field you're interested in. We help you get a job at a company doing that thing that you are interested in. And then that company, the best part, pays for you to go to school at State Fair. It cannot get better than that. It's not going to get better than that. They pay for you to sit in a classroom and then you're probably not sitting in a shop when you're doing your work, but they pay you to go to school. It's an incredible deal. If you're interested in it, you can email me. You can check it out on our website. It's awesome. The last kind of way we help you get a job is the skills that we teach are the skills that our community needs. And I know I kind of mentioned this before, but I want to reiterate it, that we are teaching for the jobs that are open now. Job openings, we look at that. We want to teach to those. We don't want to teach you a job that has nobody hiring for it. So we really focus on our community. I know I'm the only one who has am I the only one who has community in my name? East Central College. Yeah, I'm the only one with community in my name. I was like, what do those C's stand for?
We used to be East Central Junior College or Junior Community College.
That's a long acronym right there. That's why it's shortened. So I'm the only one with community in my name at my college, but all of us really do focus on the community around what we serve, who we serve. We want to make sure we are teaching the skills that our community needs, that we're filling that skills gap, and that we are supporting our students. That's what we're here for.
And Elizabeth, to your point of apprenticeships, there are a ton of scholarship opportunities out there, even if you do an internship for a company. I know here at State Tech, we have program-specific scholarships and then some overall scholarships that any of our students, can apply to. And so some of those program-specific are so that those specific companies can get those students as interns and eventually full-time employees. So there are those other opportunities tied to internships or apprenticeships or, that type of thing.
Yeah, really, really good point. If you have any questions about, does my area have anything like that at your school, let us know. You can email us. We've got our emails here in just a second. Or you can send us a question. We can talk more specifics. Very good point. Yeah, absolutely. So that kind of wraps up our presentation portion. We want to open it up to Q&A. I've been sharing my screen, so I haven't been able to look, but I've seen a couple of questions pop up. So very good. I am going to stop sharing my screen so we can just just dive into questions. We've got about 13 minutes, so please do send us some questions if you have any.
I've got a few here that have come in. So the first one, a student was asking, can you get a 2-year degree in accounting and business related fields? And so my answer was yes. We have accounting and business at East Central. Do you all have that at your schools as well?
Yeah, we do. We've got computer information science accounting as well, if you're kind of thinking more computer, but we've got an entire business degree. It might be one that you have to move on to a bachelor's, but you'll always know for sure because you can talk with the people in the business department. At State Fair, you have a navigator who's like your academic advisor, so they know specifically if you know what you want to do, we can kind of tell you how much education is required.
And at State Tech, I would say probably our business degree is probably our most versatile degree in the sense that you could take it to a 4-year school and just add a couple more years to it. So accounting, general business, agribusiness, digital marketing, and I know we all have kind of similar majors in that sense, but yeah, absolutely. I think that business is probably one of those, very versatile fields that you could start with a 2-year degree, and if you find a niche area that works for you, and you find a 4-year school that offers it as a bachelor's degree, go for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then related to that question, they had asked if there were certificates that would also be in those areas. So just take accounting classes or just take business classes. I know we do offer that here. Do you guys have the same type of stackable available?
I think so. I could check for you real quick. Scott, do you want to talk first while I double check?
Yeah. So on the business side of things, more of a 2-year degree because of the marketability of that. And so we're limited. We do have some certificates at State Tech, but we're limited because that degree is going to make you more marketable at the end of the day. And any certificates that we have, if you like welding offers 2 certificates and then the degree, in the degree you get everything that's offered in a certificate. So and more. And so so a lot of times, if a student wants to start out in a certificate, I think that's great. If you're academically sound, GPA, and your attendance is good, I think start with that Associate of Applied Science degree. But in the same sense, do whatever's best for you as the student.
Yeah, kind of similar. We've got that CIS accounting degree. That would be a 2-year one. And then we have one certificate in our business department, but I don't think it would be what you were kind of looking for. It's a skill certificate in first line supervision and retail. So I don't think it's what you're looking for. You might be on a 2-year path.
Okay. Another question we had was, what GPA is required to get into State Fair College?
Great question. So we actually don't require a specific GPA just for admission. The one that you kind of have to think about with GPA is when you get into financial aid. So some scholarships require a certain GPA. A+ requires a certain GPA, 2.5 in high school, and then you have to maintain that 2.5 in college. Your first semester, we give you a little leeway. You can do a 2.0, but then after that, you got to pull it up to a 2.5. So for just getting accepted, we don't require a certain GPA. Similar question about ACT, SAT scores. We don't require a certain score. We just require a score. So we use the ACT and the SAT, and if you don't want to take one of those, you can take the AccuPlacer. It's just an alternative test to place you into classes like math and English. So we require we require a score, but not a certain score. So if you get, like me, really low in math, it's okay. You're just going to start out in a lower math course and then take that and then move up and move up and move up until you get the math that is required for whatever you're going for.
I think that's probably similar at the other, oh, sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's probably similar at the other community colleges as well. We have a very similar policy to what they have at State Fair as well. Certain programs might have higher requirements. So like if you're going to go into the nursing program, there is a cutoff there. So definitely something to be thinking about and protecting your GPA while you're still in high school.
And Elizabeth brought up a really good point. So the AccuPlacer, I don't think a lot of students are really familiar with the AccuPlacer. It is an alternative test Results are instant. It's untimed. So if you're not a good time test taker, that might be an opportunity for you. I don't know about the other two schools, but State Tech is offering the AccuPlacer virtually. So if you have the capability with a webcam, you could actually do that AccuPlacer from home or the high school one day while you're, while you're there. And then here at State Tech, we'll take the highest scores from whichever test, ACT and or AccuPlacer. Are you guys similar?
Yeah, exactly. I think you're on mute, Elizabeth.
Sorry, thanks. I have the questions up, so I can't see my little icon. So yeah, we're doing through Zoom. So if you can do a Zoom call, you can do the AccuPlacer. It's free the first time. And then if you want to retake it, it's $15, which is a lot better than the ACT.
It looks like we got another, oh, go ahead, Scott.
Well, the only reason I brought that up is because I know a lot of ACT dates had been canceled. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I know certain students are struggling to get test scores, and I always bring up the AccuPlacer and they're like, well, I didn't know that was a thing. And so it's good to know kind of your options on the testing side as well, depending on which school you're looking at.
Absolutely. Looks like we have another question about, is there a 2-year degree for education/teaching? I know at East Central we have our Associate of Arts in Teaching, so that would be a perfect fit for someone that wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah, same for us. We've got the AAT, and it's not just all general education courses. You do take a lot of education courses, get so your feet wet into education, get a feel for it. We've got kind of 2 options, so it depends what age range you want to teach. So if you want to do K through 12, you're going to look at the AAT. If you want to do like daycare, like really young kids, you might look at early childhood development instead of teaching. So just
Megan, I do have a question for you. I kind of want to go back to, some things that you presented on. So A+, if a student doesn't know who to contact at the high school to see if they have A+, or maybe, I don't know why they may not have ever heard of it, but what if they haven't? What would be your suggestion for those students?
Sure, I would say look for if someone has A+ coordinator as their title at your school. Usually there's either a full-time person designated as that, or it's a counselor that has that as part of their responsibility. So A+ coordinator is typically what every school in Missouri would have to answer those questions for you. And your counselors usually have some general information too.
And I'll just mention, just because I'm not originally from Missouri, so if anyone is watching that is not in Missouri, just know that A+ is a Missouri State thing. You have to go to a Missouri State high school. I was really jealous of it whenever I first came to Missouri. I was like, you guys get what? Because A+ pays for generally your tuition, depending on if you have to do tiered tuition or anything. But it's thousands of dollars of a scholarship. It's really, really good. So if you can do A+, do A+, for me at least, because it's a really good opportunity.
And I guess real quick, I just wanted to highlight State Tech. I wanted to let you guys know, and I'll let the other 2 colleges talk too. We are open for tours daily. So if you want to schedule a tour, you can do that online through the website at statetechmo.edu. There are some restrictions on tours because of COVID, and we want to make sure everybody's safe, but we also want to make sure that you get to see what it is that you came to visit. And also we have an open house coming up October 17th. It's a Saturday. So that's sort of my shameless plug for State Tech and tours, and I'll let the other 2 reps do the same thing.
We're doing tours. We don't have any visit days scheduled just yet. You can sign up for a tour most business days. I think we're not doing them Tuesdays. It just it depends. It kind of changes every semester, but we do them 4 out of the 5 business days. You go on our website, search visit. You can sign up. We are requiring masks on campus, so you will need a mask.
East Central, we are doing tours every day, usually at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And you can go on our website as well to schedule that.
And I see a question. It says, how will I know what classes to take? And I think that's a really good question. Kind of something that I think two-year schools do really well is advising. I will kind of speak for myself. I went to a four-year school. I didn't start at a two-year school. I'm mad. Don't get me started. But um, my advising wasn't the best. I didn't feel like I knew really what I was doing. But at a two-year school, I'll talk for State Fair, let you guys take yours. I mentioned it earlier, you'll have a navigator. We call them that because they are there to navigate you through college. It's cheesy, we're about it. So they talk you through what classes you want to take. You talk about your goals, what you want to do, how you want to go about your schooling because it is your schooling. And then they help you kind of decide what classes you want to do. They give you a plan. They help you with financial aid. They really help you with anything college related, or even whenever personal stuff comes up. Life is really, really hard. They can help you too because we've got lots of resources on campus, different things that we can implement whenever your life gets hard to help you stay afloat. So there are people here for you. You'll have the same one as long as you have the same major throughout your time here, and you can call on them whenever you need.
We have something similar to East Central. Also, the first semester you're here as a degree-seeking student, you take Falcon Seminar for the Falcons. So yes, we embrace the cheesy as well to kind of help you through your program. And very similar. I know we're running a little bit short on time, so we've got about a minute or so left.
And I could talk from State Tech. Day one, you're working with your department chair, who's your academic advisor. They'll give you technical classes first, and then they'll sprinkle gen eds in over the period of 2 years. So day one, you're in hands-on technical classes.
Alrighty, I don't see any more questions. I don't know if our MOACAC facilitator wants to say anything. Oh, we're screen sharing. Okay, here we go. Oh, thanks for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Just wanted to wrap this up. Thank you all for coming. After you close your screen, there will be a quick 4-question survey. We are having sessions like this for the next several weeks, so make sure to sign up for more of them at moacac.org. And they had so much great information, so if you need a refresher, a recording of this will be available about a week from now at moacac.org. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks so much for having us. Bye, y'all.